Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, and apologies for being slightly late, about 4 or 5 minutes late. I was just adding some links and bits and bobs, and watching something very compelling on another YouTube channel, which was talking about the human race and how what was it? The Anunnaki and human civilization and all sorts. So, first of all, this is the first Thursday Fry-Up, a live one, since I've been back from Mexico. As you guys will know, many of you are piling into the chat. And thank you so much for everyone for joining me. And I have news to announce. Dun, 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 dun. Actually, this is well worth a sound effect. 1 minute. Let me just get my little sound effect machine here. Let's just see if the battery's not gone flat. Right. It's happening, everyone. The retreat. You remember I was telling you guys about the retreat? Well, it's real. It is happening. And it is going to be happening in Rome and Florence, everyone, on October 15th to the 20th, 2024, if I recall correctly. Some of you, I gave you, a little email because some people really wanted to go. So 4 people have booked already, yeah? But there's only 23 spaces. So that means what? 19 left, folks, 19 left. If you would like to find out more, please click on the link in the video description. So some of you actually ask me, like, where is the video description? So when you're looking at my video or anyone else's video, you will see there will be a word which will say more, or you might see 3 dots on top of each other. You just click on that and there it will be in the video description. That's where us YouTubers, where we put details of links or websites, etc., all of that stuff, and it is all in there. So for those of you that are up for it, those of you that have been chomping at the bit and wanting to be with me in person in Rome, it covers Rome, Florence, and the Tuscan countryside. Then we go back to Rome and have this Fiat 500 experience. I'll be teaching maybe Vedic astrology, probably in the mornings, after breakfast, before we go out and have our excursions at the Trevi Fountain, the Colosseum, all the various different things. You will be wined and dined and entertained, yeah? You'll be with me, yeah? And I will be with all of you, and I'm so looking forward to it. Many of you are going to make lifelong friends. I'm absolutely convinced. Many of you will be talking with like-minded people. You're all different. You're all unique. You're all my special gemstones, as you know. But many of you have many things in common in your charts, and I want to discuss that. We're going to talk about careers, love, relationships, marriage, or why it's not, maybe not marriage, why it's not happened. We'll be talking about health, family, how the planets are people, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm just so look forward to sharing all of that with you and all of us being together and boosting each other and helping be part of the transformation that this planet and humanity and society needs so much. We're not the only ones, of course. There are many light workers that are doing their work, but we are all making our contribution. And I really deeply believe that this trip will be the first of many adventures. Obviously, not all of you will be able to come on the retreat. Don't worry about that. One of the things I'm thinking of doing is maybe doing a Thursday Fry-Up or even a Hogely live from one of the retreats. So I'll be live like this. You guys will be in the audience, probably making noise and waving, and I'll be doing the show, and we'll have live interactions with questions from the chat and questions from behind. I think it will be absolutely epic. If this trip does well, then I will let you know what the next one will be. And the next one might be in America, but we will have to see. Remember, there's that hit list there. So just to repeat again, if any of you want to join me and you've always wanted to learn about Vedic astrology in a wonderful location, then go to the video description. You click the link there, and that's where you can sign up. 4 gone already, but that was just a little early bird. You guys know who you are, and thank you so much for booking. Everyone else, get stuck in. Before I begin as well, please don't forget as well to like and subscribe and press the bell notification if you'd like to support my channel, if you've not done so already. I appreciate, of course, all the new subscribers and the support, much appreciated. And this is actually representing 2024 is really representing a whole new chapter in my life where I finally get to meet you guys in person. I've had so many Zoom chats with you guys and so many of you in the chat and all of that stuff. So let's enjoy this adventure together. Whole new phase. But anyway, that's that part there. So I've got my tarot cards out. I've got my questions here. Some of you sent some questions in. And of course, let's not forget as well, some of the unsung Hogely questions I will cover as well. Yeah, and we got some juicy ones. So hold on to your pantyhose and pants, everybody, because I think it's going to be quite an entertaining show. Got my cards ready, got Shakespeare ready. Let's see who's here in the chat, and we're going to get stuck in. So let's see here. Oh, I love this. Look. This says Geek Hillbilly. Hello, Hogarth from southeastern Kentucky. I am a real hillbilly. Well, I say yee-haw and hello. You know, everyone is welcome on this channel, as we know. And I must say, I do have a soft spot for the Southern accent. I think it's very musical and lovely. I love all the American accents, but the Southern one in particular, I quite like. We have, who's in? Foggy. Hello, Foggy. Hoagie, come to Branston, USA, maybe somewhere. I think when I do come back to the United States, because it's been a while, folks, as we know. Well, mind you, I've been through New York Airport, but I don't think that really counts too much. It's technically I've been on American USA land, New York Airport, and even Georgia Airport, I think I've been through, which is massive, but that's not a visit. So it's probably going to be New Mexico, I would imagine, would be the next trip. But anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. For now, Rome and Florence and Tuscany awaits. Ooh. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm very excited about this. Who else do we have in? We've got Connie B. Hello, Connie B. And Janny is saying, happy to see you live. Thank you. What's this here? Oh, wow. Perfect destination. Rome, Florence. So historical, mystical, and beautiful. I would go if I had the means. Maybe if I win the lotto. But you know what? What I would say is, believe it or not, these trips, they don't cost an arm and a leg. It literally won't rob the bank. And for American peeps, you guys are very lucky. You can actually pay in installments. I think it's like a 25% deposit, but then you have up until July to finish off. And then some of you, if you click another button, you can do 18 months or something like that. So this ain't impossible, folks. You don't have to kind of like raid the back of the sofa, sell your cat or your grandmother or anything like this for this. Do you know what I mean? It's achievable anyway. But for anyone that can't come, don't worry. We'll beam live, and I'll probably do some live shows or special shows, and that will be extra special. Anyway, who else do we have? And then we're going to start. We're going to start the show. Let's see here. You by yourself, Hogarth? No, me with you. You come with me. We will go together. Well, I'll be joining you in Rome, and you'll be collected from the airport, just like myself. And someone's saying, Sonia Ross is saying, hi, Hogarth. Yes, come to New Mexico. Yeah, that will probably be the adventure at a later date. I mean, we're talking earliest will be 2025. Yeah, so, go for the Rome thing and stuff like that if you can. And then if you don't make that, then there's a waiting list for the next one. It's probably going to be that, but let's not get too carried away. And let's see here. What is Ruth saying? Have you heard of Truth or Consequences in Hot Springs? 4 hours from Santa Fe. Come on down. Ooh, that sounds very interesting. All right, let's start with the first question. So what we have in terms of, I've got two Hogilis. That one I think is going to be about Argentina. One is a duck Laange. Of course, but we've got a question about Cuba that's come in. We've got a Russia question. Let me just put that here. 1 second. Let's put here Cuba, and then let's put here Putin/Russia. That's another one. As you know, we go global here. We go global. Oh, and there's one about a billionaire hedge fund in the USA, which I think is very juicy. I don't know much about it. You guys can let me know in the comments. So there's that. Let's put here Harvard. And we like to have a little funny quote, don't we? So, you know, to lighten up the days in these times. Oh, my goodness. The Trump douchebaggery is just off the bloody charts. Did you hear what? Don't even get me started. Him starting with the lawyer trying to argue that Trump could basically have someone assassinated and he wouldn't have to face jail unless impeached. Unless impeached. Words fail. Anyway, I'm going to read from the funniest quotations to brighten your everyday. So I was scrabbling around for this book before I could find it. Let me just find something funny here. I'm just going to, you see, eyes closed, just going to read the first thing I say. See. Oh, this is quite interesting. Listen to this. I'm selfish, impatient, and a little insecure. I make mistakes. I'm out of control and at times hard to handle. But if you can't handle me at my worst, then you sure as hell don't deserve me at my best. Marilyn Monroe. Who knew? Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. And this is very true. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Oh, Napoleon Bonaparte. Literally, I've just pulled out. I didn't even know what chapter this is. Says here, human beings who are almost unique in having the ability to learn from the experience of others are also remarkable for their apparent disinclination to do so. Oh, Douglas Adams. I mean, it's normally supposed to be funny quotes, but those were quite deep, weren't they? Anyway, let's begin. Right. Nicola McClafferty, you know who you are. Thank you for your question, my dear. So this is coming from Nicola McClafferty, as I said. So she says here, Manuel Roja, a former US ambassador to Bolivia, is accused of acting as a Cuban agent for more than 40 years. Some in the CIA would rank Cuba Spy Agency as probably the most aggravating intelligence service they've ever come up against. Well, you know, they are hardcore communists, I suppose, in the end, but they are the intelligence of the intelligence when you think of the Cold War, yeah, all that stuff. Do the cards show the scale of information Cuba has obtained and whether there are more high-ranking officials that are going to be discovered? Oh, isn't that juicy, folks? Looking forward to seeing the show as usual. All right, Nicola, we're going to dig in. Let's have a little look-see. Let's see what is going on. Because, as you know, I love these international questions. Of course, it is called Hogarth's Global Astrology, as you guys know, and I love to get these stories, these topics in, because, of course, as we know, the American politics is gripping, and oh my God, I mean, just get ready, folks. You know, I've held back on 2024 and I'll be furnishing with you with more details coming forward, but expect the unexpected. Let's put it that way. And you remember how I said the wheels would continue to fall off, Duck Laange. They look like they are, but I will still say the only way he could ever get in would be a miracle, which he doesn't deserve and will not get, or some kind of act of evil or something, but which I hope doesn't happen. I think he's now in the diminishing phase. I mean, when you've got your lawyer basically arguing that you can basically get someone assassinated and trying to say that's not a crime unless disproved by the Senate. I mean, unless, you know, I mean, this is in the realms of utter madness now. Utter madness. Anyway, back to Cuba. Do the cards show the scale of information Cuba has obtained and whether there are more high-ranking officials that are going to be discovered? All right. Let's have a look-see. Because, you know, all this espionage and all this spy stuff, that Duck Laange, we do not know who else he's sold to. Obviously, you know, China. Obviously Russia, that's a given. We know that already. Putin is even boasted saying, I've seen it all. You know, he's probably just got them on his desk that he leafs through from time to time. But who else? Anyway, let's see. Cuba, let me pull the camera down. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Let's have a look. Cuba. Well. Here we go. Interessante. And I just want to say thank you as well to all the people who have been donating recently and stuff like that. It's fabulous. And, you know, we just really appreciate it. Right. There's almost 300 of you in the house now. Right. Cuba. So, do the cards show the scale of information Cuba has obtained and whether there are more high-ranking officials that are going to be discovered? So, look at the first card here. The first card that we have here is the Six of Cups. Now, we know the Cup suite is about emotions, you know, wanting to kind of have some kind of togetherness, creativity, stuff like that. Psychic abilities as well. And here we see the Six of Cups. Now we know this card is the card of what? Nostalgia, things to do with the past. So what this suggests to me is that really Cuba, I mean, doesn't it make sense for Cuba? Cuba, in many ways, from what I understand and what I think we broadly know. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I'm not Cuban. I don't live there. But Cuba, of course, is famous for what? All of the old cars, all of the old buildings, because they can't get new parts. They've had import embargoes for donkey's years. I mean, I don't know if they're still driving around in old Cadillacs from the 50s, but I don't think that's so far from the truth these days. So what this says to me is there's an element here of Cuba being stuck in the past, not necessarily because it wants to, it's because I think just in terms of, if we think of the regime, which is, you know, coming down from Castro. I think it's the brother that's still alive. There's still that very strong connection, of course, with Russia and China, the former kind of, well, China is still a communist bloc. And as far as I understand, Cuba is still technically communist as well. So in a way, they're kind of a country that is in a time capsule. In a way, they're still involved with all of the issues of the past. I think the Cuban Missile Crisis is still a thing. Yeah. And if we think of what was that war, the Bay of Pigs, something like that. Forgive me, I don't know that much detail about it, but I know that was certainly something very significant. So what this tells me is that the spy agencies there and those people who are still very much part of the intelligence of Cuba, which is probably very good, by the way. Yeah, they may not have as much tech. I mean, I'm only assuming because it depends what they can smuggle in. But I have a feeling they're quite old school espionage. And this card denotes that. And they're probably nursing quite a lot of things from the past. Yeah, so that's given the context there. If we look here, look what's turned up in the obstacle position. We have the Knight of Wands. Now, when the Knight of Wands is the right way up, this is about, Wands all about, remember, passion, energy, entrepreneurship, initiation, taking charge in some way, action. This has turned out reversed. Now, the Knight of Wands is actually one of the fastest decks. You can see he's rearing up, ready to go out there and achieve or spread a message of some kind. Pages, of course, there's messages as well, but Knights can be also. And so if we look here, but this is reversed. So this is kind of like the opposite of speed. This is the opposite of agendas being fulfilled. So obviously this person's been discovered, which has probably scuppered a few things. Yeah, the intelligence agencies have maybe kind of hit a bit of a brick wall here, because obviously this guy, what is he called? Manuel Roca, former US ambassador to Bolivia, has obviously been implicated as a spy for entertainment purposes only. However, when we look in the middle, we see here that Cuba is still looking outwards to the world, still making its plans. Of course, if you're a country that is not so interested in influence over the world, then you don't really need a spy team. You just rent yourselves out to tourism or whatever it is that you want to do. So it shows that Cuba does still have ambition, and they're looking out at the world. They're probably looking to their Russian counterparts and the Chinese. Now, we did a reading a while ago, which was showing how Cuban citizens are fighting in the war in Ukraine. Yeah, so we can see here the Cuban government is looking out at the world, making plans, partnership, but with who? Could this be Putinshka here? So here we see the Emperor card. Of course, this is probably Putin. Yeah, or it could be Xi Jinping. Either one. It could be any powerful patriarch of a regime or organization. So what this says to me is, because of issues of the past that Cuba is still trying to get over, you know, the embargoes, the Cuban Missile Crisis, all of that, the Bay of Pigs, this has scuppered their forward motion and development, which they've been trying to make sophisticated plans about, and they're looking overseas to help. Who is potentially helping them? It's Russia. But Russia is also dictating a lot of what happens in Cuba, because, of course, they're a much bigger country and far more powerful. And this is probably Putin or Xi Jinping of China. This is leaving Cuba in quite a difficult place. I think they feel quite torn. On one hand, they want to look out to the world. They want to develop their business prospects. But I suspect because of their relationships, their ties to Putinshka and China, this is leaving them embattled, because after all, you still have all of these sanctions that have been going on for decades and decades. So will they find more? Maybe they will. Maybe they will find more, and Cuba could be more implicated. But overall, I think they're struggling to kind of throw off the past. That's what I would say. So I hope you guys found that reading interesting. All right, who else is in the chat? Let me actually just scribble that one off. Oh, let me have a slurp of water as well. Need a drink. Forgive me for literally swigging from the bottle of water, but I don't have time to run for a glass. All right, what's Chuck saying? What's this? Chuck Hepner, Trump smells the worst condition of humans is when they lose knowledge and control of themselves. He who is not sure of his memory should not undertake the trade of lying. Michel de Montagne. Oh, very good. Thanks for that, Chuck. That is, yeah. That's a very, very good point. What's this here? Someone's saying to Michael Grant is saying, don't cry for me, Venezuela, largest oil reserve, albeit substandard in the world. Russia, when your gas station isn't big enough. Man, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. And who else? Carmela Catuti is saying, hello from Boston. Mwah! Hello. I hope that all things are going well. We had a consultation a few months ago. Shall we move? Let's move to the next question. So we've done Cuba. Let's look at this Harvard one. We're going to look at the Harvard one, and then we're going to look at a bit of Putinshka, and then we're going to do a bit of Hogely questions. All right. So this is coming from Coco Cooks. Yeah, Coco Cooks. So can you look into Bill Ackman? Now, this is a total cold read for me. I don't have a clue. Yeah, and I didn't know who the manual rocker was either. So can you look into Bill Ackman, the billionaire hedge fund donor to Harvard, who led the campaign to remove Claudine Gay as a Harvard president because of her response in the hearings on anti-Semitism at colleges and plagiarism charges. Oh, I remember seeing a headline, but I didn't get stuck into it. All right, so Claudine Gay. Okay, so she's a president of Harvard, and I think she had to resign, isn't it? Now the tables are flipped back to him, as his wife, Neri Oxman, a former professor at MIT and linked to Epstein, oh bloody hell, this gets very deep, has been charged with plagiarism, and he's defending her, but wants to bring the current administration at MIT down. Will his efforts prevail? My goodness, that sounds very labyrinthine and quite complex, doesn't it? He seemed unhinged at this point with his tome-like endless posts about his wife and the situation on X. So this guy seems to Bill Ackman. Will his efforts prevail? Look, what I will say is this, folks. You've heard me talking about this before. And forgive me for my ad nauseum repetition, but this really does make sense. As you know, I am a neo-Vedic astrologer, and all us Vedic astrologers are saying Pluto is not in Aquarius. It is in sidereal Capricorn. Capricorn deals with government, like government, big pharma, big companies, certain infrastructure projects, government contracts, hierarchical structures, basically big business as well. Any kind of large scale, hardcore business, Fortune 500 businesses, all of that kind of stuff. What is Pluto? Pluto is about power. Pluto is about corruption, the underbelly. Pluto can represent some of the worst of what humanity can do. Now, the best side of Pluto, of course, is alchemy, magic, shamanism, that stuff. That's why we have to use and develop our magical skills at this time to counteract the impingement of the corporate kleptocracy. That's the best way to kind of put it. I know that sounds hardcore, but it is. Just look at the world. So Pluto used to be the ancient planet, one of the original planets of wealth. But what I say in my upcoming book is that Pluto deals with people so wealthy that their wealth cannot even be counted. Yeah. This is why, what are we seeing? Billionaires over the world. It's emerging how much they've been influencing politics, business, pharma, and all types of education. So this transit, which started on the 1st of January 2021, yeah, and then what do we have? 5 days later, we had the insurrection, which we're still dealing with now. That is part of this Pluto energy where all the yuck and all the ish and all the fascism. Yeah, remember that Pluto also deals with fascism as well. It really does. And fascism, which was created and coined by Mussolini, he said the definition of fascism is the unification of state and business. Remember that. Unification of state and business. That's from the man who created it. And remember, this all began when Pluto was discovered by the modern world in when? 1930. That's why Pluto is associated with these things, the nuclear bomb, all of this stuff. Pluto is now in the opposite place. It's now in the sign of Capricorn. And this is why I've been saying for years, you guys know I've been saying this for years, we're back in the energy, it seems, of the 1930s. Look what Duck Laange is saying. Yeah, do you see Pluto in Capricorn? When we look at the world, this is, so what is this all about? It's all about these billionaires who are throwing their toys out the pram, and where now Pluto is revealing the extent of their influence. And of course, 2020 was also one of the biggest transfers of wealth that has ever happened. But anyway, will this guy succeed? And then we'll see what Shakespeare thinks of him. Sorry, I had to go on a kind of a Lena-esque digression there. But, you know, it makes sense. I know I keep saying it, but I do have to keep repeating it because it's easy to forget. Pluto is in sidereal Capricorn. Look at the world. You can see how it's happening. Anyway, enough from me on that. Will this guy succeed in his modus operandi? Yet another billionaire. Meddling. Honestly, these guys, these people, they need... Oh, anyway. Well, very interesting. He has some obstacles. All right. Oh, there's now 348 of you. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. And I know it's been a little while since my last Thursday Fry-Up, but last Thursday I was literally in the air. I think it took me 17 hours to get home. I was knackered. Anyway. This guy, what's he called again? Bill Ackman. Look at this. Look what he gets. He gets the Fool card. Now, this is a more sophisticated interpretation of the Fool on this occasion, folks. Yeah. The simple interpretation of the Fool is literally the Fool. Yeah. Someone who's not very intelligent, smart, etc. Or, you know, just, you know, naive. Yeah. But here we have to kind of blend it. Yeah, this is a more of a blended meaning. The Fool deals a lot with new beginnings. Let's not forget he is the first card in the tarot deck. Yeah, so he's the last card and the first card. So that really it's all about the Fool's journey. All of the numbered cards, particularly of the major arcana, describe the Fool's journey. So this, in a way, the Fool is describing Bill Ackman. What it's showing is that Bill has some kind of idealized vision of the world, like many of these billionaires. Have you noticed? They're always trying to reshape the world in their image, yeah? Because this is also a card of faith, of belief, feeling that the universe is going to catch you somehow. This is why he has his head up in the air, back. He's looking up and out. He's not looking down. The dog here, his companion, is possibly trying to warn him of the perils, but the dog is also his guide as well. So when the Fool comes up, particularly when we're talking about billionaires, we're not necessarily talking about people that are foolish. Obviously, many of them are immensely intelligent, but they're often very ideological. So what this says to me is that this guy is very ideological about how he believes the world should be and wants to use his power and influence to change those outcomes, yeah, which is what one of the things that we're seeing. But billionaires are not often that attached to reality, because think about it, when you're a billionaire, you're completely detached from real life. You can buy islands, you can buy people, yeah, you can buy politicians very easily, yeah, you can buy influence of all kinds. So there is also an element of, believe it or not, a kind of a naivety to these people, because they sort of believe anything is possible, and most of the time that they are right. But this card is, you see, it's not the emperor, it's not the king, it's the Fool. So it shows there's an element of naivety here with this billionaire. He might be a billionaire, but he may not be completely mentally, emotionally, or spiritually mature. That's what I suspect. Look at his obstacle. Oh dear, the Tower. Oops. So the question was, would he succeed? I would say it seems like he's overplayed his hand. Yeah, he's been a bit naive, I would say, in how he's gone about communicating this stuff. And obviously everyone's onto him. Also, as well, this has caused, probably would have caused a tremendous amount of embarrassment as well to Harvard and all of that kind of stuff, and revealed a bit of the seedy underbelly of how many of these institutions are funded. Also, as well, there's the shock and the revelation of his own wife's plagiarism and connections with Epstein, who we've known. We don't need to describe Epstein's crimes, yeah, where it turns out he's got fingers in every, everyone's. Anyway, we know about him. If we look here in the middle, we've got the 10 of Wands, which we know deals with hard work, graft. If we look here, the guy is carrying the rods very inefficiently. If he bundled them up and put them on his back, he would do far better. Yeah, but in this instance, he's not got the wherewithal to do that. You can see sort of like the house in the distance, but him getting there is difficult. So he's caused himself a tremendous amount of work, yeah, by meddling in the way that he has. I think it's had a lot of unintended consequences, particularly when you combine it with the Tower. If we look here, there are legal matters. This can represent the people that might be criticizing the situation, looking on scornfully, yeah? Because let's not forget that the sword suit deals with the intellect, it deals with the mind, but it can also deal with critique as well. And the King of Swords has a very sharp tongue. When he's the right way up, he is just and fair, but he also represents the law, just like the Queen of Swords represents the law. So there could be some legal issues that he faces. And of course, there's the ramifications of his wife and what she may have been up to and what that might say about their marriage. All of a sudden, he's probably getting a lot of critique. Nonetheless, though, if we look here now, isn't this interesting? This is the Page of Wands, and as we know, the pages are all about they're all about speech. But the Page of Wands in particular is associated with universities and education. Voila! So we see here, Spirit is really speaking rather explicitly about this. He's obviously going to continue to foist his opinions, be it Harvard or MIT or any other institution that he might be backing, but he has to tread carefully because there could be legal ramification for his words. And there is an element here of sharpness and critique, and a man that is slightly naive about his ability to influence things. He's probably overstepped the mark. So I hope that was a useful reading for you guys. All right, let's see who else. Let me scribble this one off. And then we're going to take on a Russia question. And then we're going to look at Duck Laange, and then if I have time, we'll look at the situation in Argentina. Oh my goodness! Let's see who else is here. So we've got Estelle Hartington. She says hello from the Northeast USA. Hello, Estelle. Thank you for joining me. Oh, look at this. Chuck Hartman says people of privilege will always risk their complete destruction rather than surrender any material part of their advantage. John Kenneth Galbraith. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, oh, here we are. We see it in the world today. The world could basically be destroyed by all of the cray-cray that we're doing. And what do? They still cling on. Because what it is, many of them, sadly, are psychopaths. They're deranged people. Yeah, they're unhinged, detached from reality. Yeah. If we look here, seems being poor would make you greedy, but it's the other way around. Yeah. Absolutely. Someone says great reading. Thank you very much, Jenny. Who else is here? Oh, Hola from Santa Fe. Many Santa Fe in the crowd. I could be coming to you soon, folks, but 2025, just a little ways just yet. Let's see here. Someone's saying we got snow. And Chuck is saying, when it comes to empathy and compassion, rich people tend to suck. Yeah, that has been explored at length in a series of studies by Dasha Keltner of USC Berkeley. Yeah, there can be issues because think about it this way. Look, for us ordinary people, who have to suffer and deal with, you know, ordinary life and stuff like that. And let me tell you, my childhood was no bed of roses. Oh my God, it was absurd. You know, I mean, just really poor. I mean, just like beyond, just ridiculous. As we know, my mother suffered from mental health issues, schizophrenia, and it was just, my childhood was wide. I had a lot of freedom though. There were perks, and this is why I'm an astrologer today. But what does suffering teach us? Suffering teaches us empathy, doesn't it? Empathy. Because when we've suffered, we learn that life may not necessarily always be what it's cracked up to be. We learn what it's like to go without. So when we see other people without, we have compassion, because we can put ourselves in that scenario. And this is very often why people that are poor and don't have much money, and now look, I'm not anti-wealth. I really believe people should have wealth and abundance, and many of us have been kept deliberately poor. But you know what I mean? This is often why when one goes to poor countries, you can sometimes see a lot of happiness, because when you don't have anything, there's not a lot of envy either. You're not competing with other people to have the latest handbag, this, that, and the other. Now, it doesn't mean that people that are wealthy and rich don't have compassion, all of them per se, but if you've grown up very privileged, it is harder to have compassion because you've not had to go without. You know, the concept of being hungry or whatever to a billionaire is an alien concept. Not being able to afford something is an alien concept. When you can buy islands, when you can buy people, when you can buy politicians, everything is relative. Everything becomes on a scale, particularly in regards to money. So in a way, sometimes it can even be a bit like a form of suffering in a sense. Now, I'm not saying, oh, you know, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about spiritually, the lack of growth. And I think this is often why billionaires are often so dense. They lose track of reality. Anyway, where was I? Let's get on with the show. God, I'm having quite a few rants and stuff. All right, let's go to Russia and then we'll do some duck Laange. So Manuela Orchid has asked, hello, Hoagie, hope all is well. My question would be, if Putin might really extract his war to other countries like Elsland in Finland, etc., or is this just the media machinery trying to force more fear into everyone? Good question. And she says, lovely Thursday to you. And it's freezing here in Germany. Oh, it's cold here as well. Yeah, even here in London, it's been very chilly. I've just ordered 3 new heaters today. And the delivery man started talking about end times. I kid you not. We had this random thing. I think it's because he saw my my little chain that helps repel EMFs or whatever it is. And he said, oh, are you a spiritual person? I think he just worked it out. He just probably read my aura. And he starts telling me about the Middle East, how the grass has grown over the desert in Dubai. He was telling me all of these random things happening. Interessante. Anyway, Russia. Will Putin try and expand this war outward? Let's have a look. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, but let's see what the cards have to say. Putinska. It's been interesting though, isn't it? Everyone's been saying that he's dead, and you've noticed I've not said that. I personally believe Putin will officially be dead when they play Swan Lake on Russian TV. That's how they used to do it in the old days. Yeah. That's how they used to do it in the old days. How interesting. And of course, there's speculation that he might even be using AI as well. That's actually a bit more plausible, actually. Yeah, that's a bit more plausible. Because say if he's incapacitated, he still needs to project power, or the regime still need to project his power. Because if he's either dead or incapacitated, what does that mean? Like, everything starts to collapse, yeah? But they might use a bit of AI, CGI, you know, kind of have him talking. People were saying he was chatting the other days. his New Year's message, and they said their head didn't seem in sync. But when I tried to find the video for myself, I only saw little snippets. But, you know, that's a bit more plausible. But I still think he's alive. Anyway, what's Putinska up to? Here we have Temperance. Yeah. So what's he doing? He's trying to balance things. Yeah. As you've seen, Putin has largely succeeded in distracting the world from the Ukraine war. Yeah, because obviously he's made things blow up in the Middle East and stuff like that. And it's quite interesting because I was reading on that earlier, and I can't remember, it was months ago now when I was reading on Putin, and I said he would stir pots and trigger stuff probably elsewhere in order to deflect. And that seems to exactly be what's happened, with help, of course. And so here what he's doing a balancing act, or he's trying to perform a type of alchemy, because, you know, there's Russian elections. Now we all know who's going to win. Yeah, it's going to be Putin. But the point is, in light of these elections, he's trying to change the narrative. And on certain levels, he's kind of succeeded, hasn't he? Because we've been talking about, obviously quite rightly, the Middle East for months now, yeah. And while all that's going on, he's trying to recalibrate, particularly his message at home. But this also tells me as well, politically, within his spheres of influence, he's probably having to recalibrate, try and find a new balance, try and find a new harmony of some kind. So this tells me within his administration, he's probably having to do quite a things to balance stuff out. So this says to me, he's probably not at the peak of his powers. We don't see the Emperor card here. Yeah. If it was the Emperor card, then we'll be seeing him strong. This is someone who's trying to calibrate, balance. Yeah. If we look in the obstacle position, we have the Fool return. How interesting. Now, this is turning up in the obstacle position. So this really can talk about foolishness, lack of foresight. Yeah, because look, he's looking up. Do you see? Lack of foresight. He's looking up, but not looking down at the reality. So, of course, the whole situation with Ukraine and all of the doodahs that's happened since then, you know, this has been a massive quagmire. I mean, it's still dragging on. But of course, it was an act ultimately of foolishness, impulsiveness, because it hasn't really yielded the desired result. Putinska, of course, is holding on, hoping that Laange is going to get in power. Yeah, but it also shows there was an element of impulse, immaturity, even a fit of pique. Yeah, you know, I'll show them, you know, I'll show that Zelensky, you know, all that kind of stuff. Not saying that Zelensky's perfect either, but in terms of here, the energy of Putin and all of this kind of stuff. Also, as well, this says to me it would be unwise for him to extend that conflict further as well. So I would say it's borderline. If we look here, he may actually, believe it or not, be having a little bit of sane reflection. I know you wouldn't necessarily be expecting me to say this, but look, I read the cards, as you know, as they are. No bias here. So we have the Queen of Swords, which deals with what? Sound judgment, rational judgment. He's probably looked at the scenario, because think about it. What's Putin's objective? He wants everyone to forget about Navalny. Remember, if you go back, look at my Navalny video. I said that Putin would put Navalny in a gulag and have us forget about him. Yeah. Think about how much less Navalny is in the news now because of Ukraine, because of what's going on in the Middle East. So, hardly anyone's talking. And then he disappeared and then he reappeared. Yeah. So here he's actually trying to use his thinking cap this time. This also shows he might be getting better advice. Now, look, this isn't a big up to Putin. I'm just saying, I'm reading the card, as you guys know. He's seeking better advice and is trying to use more sound judgment. This also tells me he literally is getting advice. This could be Iran and this could be China. We know that China has been supplying materials, not necessarily the war material itself, because then they'll be sanctioned, but, you know, everything but. We also know that Iran has been supplying drones, and I think North Korea has as well. So you can see advice, expert advice coming in. What's this all about? Nostalgia. You see, the Six of Cups comes back again. This is Putin's nostalgia for how he wants Russia to be before the fall of communism. Yeah, remember what he said? He said, in his own words, he said, the fall of communism was one of the great tragedies of like the human world, or some words to that effect. So he wants to take things back to the past, like so many of these dictators. Yeah, wants to take it back to the past, living in nostalgia. But looky here, he's going to have to reflect somewhat. The Hermit comes out. So what this tells me is there's going to be things that continue to happen. I think behind the scenes, Putin's got a lot more on his plate than might actually appear. He's having to recalibrate, rebalance things and go deep within. So I think that could be connected with matters to his health and his political situation. But on the surface of it, he's still meddling. Will he kind of invade, you know, Estonia or Finland? I would say unlikely. That would be probably a bridge too far. But he has definitely taken advice and he's trying to be more strategic now. So there you are. All right, let's read a Hogely. We've got to do a duck Laange. Yeah. All right, let's do a duck Laange. See if I can squeeze one in. Oh, right. Okay. So someone's saying, Rainbow Cleft is saying, I really hate YouTube's new ad policy. It just interrupted, Hoagie. Sorry about that. You know what it's like. Ads are now compulsory. So what I'll do after this live is finished, it processes a little bit, and then I'll be able to go in and edit out some of the ads. So anyone who's watching me live now, sorry if the ad is jumping in a little bit. It's part of the new YouTube policy, and it's the same for everyone. Yeah, everyone has to try and handle the ads in their own way. But there you are. If you want to monetize the channel at all, you have to have the ads now. So don't worry, I'll trim those out afterwards. Don't worry. But thank you for letting me know. All right, let's see here. Oh, this is interesting. Chuck. Oh, Chuck again. Gosh, you got some good stuff. So Americans indeed, all free men, remember that in the final choice, a soldier's pack is not so heavy a burden as a prisoner's chains. Ike Eisenhower. Ooh. Let's see. What's this? Rainbow Cliff. Dish mix volume then. Volume booster for 10. Oh, okay. I don't know what that is. What's this? The ads on a live interrupting Hogarth is annoying. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'll have to stop that afterwards. Apologies. All right, let's have a look. That's just the YouTube stuff, so don't worry, I'll strip that down. So let's read on Trump. All right, so this is coming from Baron Bobel. Question: when Bobel, yes, you're from South Africa. Yes, I remember. When Trump loses to Biden again, will Trump invoke another Jan 6th right in protest for losing? We know he'll say it's rigged. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Sorry for the ads, folks. Like I said, YouTube new policy. I'll see if I can tidy it up afterwards. When Trump loses to Biden again, will he invoke another Jan 6th right? That's if he even can. But it's a good question. Duck Laange. Duck Laange. Or crispy duck Laange, yeah? Because all of his... Did you guys hear that devastating riposte or ripostes from the judge where she was just tearing apart the ridiculous arguments? Right. Duck Laange. Duck Laange. Let's have a look, see what we got here. Oh. Interesting. Always. All right, here's our answer. Here is the answer, folks. How I'm doing on time. Oh my goodness, almost that time. So this will probably be the last reading. So if we look here, will Duck Laange be able to organize a riot? He's going to try his best to, folks. Look, here we are, 8 of Pentacles, hammering away, working hard, working on a project diligently, you know, doing the best you can and all that stuff. So he's trying, yeah. As we see, look at what he's doing. Like I said, he's gone full fat fascist now. He's not even trying to pretend. So anyone that wants to vote for Duck Laange, of course, that is their free will. But you can't say you didn't know what you were voting for. Yeah, we all know what it's all about, overturning Roe versus Wade and him basically staying in as a dictatorship. And he said, I'll be a dictator on day one. You know, full fat fascism. So here he is. Of course, he's trying it. In the obstacle position, yeah, we've got the 3. That was the 8 of Pentacles. We got the 3 of Pentacles in the obstacle position, which means we can consider this card reversed. When it's the right way up, it talks about collaboration, coordination with others, which he's clearly doing. You see, they're working on the plans together. These 2 gentlemen here are talking to this guy here, saying execute the plan. So it deals with collaboration and all that stuff. However, when it's reversed, as it is in the obstacle position here, this can deal with what? Corruption, dark money, and the like. So we know already we got some crooked people in the judiciary, particularly what? In the Supreme Court. Now, we know on more state, local levels, they're doing a much better job. And the ones in DC have literally kind of raked Trump's lawyers over the coals. But we also know we've got a lot of douchebaggy ones as well, who are trying to collaborate with Duck Laange in a dark way to fulfill their basically Christo neo-fascist caliphate, goodness knows what, yeah? That there. When we look here, look what's in the middle, which is what all the other cards are hanging off. The 7 of Swords, trying to get away with something. How many times do we see this card for Trump? He is nakedly trying to get away with something, but it's not only that, it's his bloody lawyers as well. How can you stand up there? It's just, they're possessed. Honestly, these lawyers have to be hypnotized or possessed. How can you stand up there and say, you know what, the president is not susceptible to criminal charges, even if hypothetically he assassinates his opponent, unless Congress says so? Really? Whole pile of BS. Anyway, so this is him literally and all of his entourage trying to get away with something. Here's Duck Laange himself, still hoping that he's going to be the king. Yeah, here we are, the King of Wands. So this is showing, of course, his passion, his desire to kind of what? Resurrect and survive the fires. Yeah, because he's going through the fire now. But you see here, here's the salamander. Yeah, which is talking about eternal life and basically trying to not be harmed by the flames. That's what he's doing, trying to front it out. Yeah, with that energy. But look at the outcome card. 5 of Pentacles. So you see here, we've got 3 cards denoting Pentacles. So, of course, this is talking about funding and money and stuff like that. But this, look, ruin, destitution, poor health, stuff not working out, things hitting the skids. Yeah. So we see here, this is potentially the outcome for Duck Laange. So I would say with those cards, it's unlikely to succeed. One of the main reasons why is because so many insurrectionists have been locked up. So they know what's going to happen to them now, isn't it? And you'd have to be an absolute cast iron fool to want to put yourself in that situation. Anyway, the time has run. The hour went so quickly. So first of all, again, I want to say, please don't forget to like and subscribe and press the bell notification if you've not done so already. If you'd like to support my channel, if you'd like to join me on one of my retreats in Rome and Florence. Yeah, it's a combined trip, Rome and Florence and Tuscany, countryside, the whole shebang. Plus me teaching you guys in person about Vedic astrology, then go into the video description and click the link. And I'll just quickly say again, sorry for the ads there. There may have been some ad interruption. It's the new YouTube policies, you know what they want? You know what they want? They want you to pay the subscription so that you can go ad free. Yeah, but what would that do for us content creators? I'm not quite sure, but I think that's the plan. Anyway, for entertainment purposes only. I don't want to cuss out YouTube too much, but you know what I mean. Thank you everyone for all of the support over all of this time, particularly as my life enters this new phase. But for many of you, this will be a new phase in your life as well, meeting like-minded people, going on adventures, and I will share that with all of you. Don't worry if you can't come. I understand not everyone can come, but it will be shared. We will share the meal and the journey together. So big love, everyone. Thanks so much for all the support, and I will see you guys very soon. You'll see me on Hogely. All right, bye for now. Mwah!